I was kind of thinking that they were scared more of a Quas Wex Invoker than they would be of an Exort, just because Centaur gets EMP'd, he's out of mana forever, basically. Like, Elder Titan kind of suffers from the same thing. And up until this point, Cloud9 don't really have a great way to disengage against a Centaur.
That's definitely true.
If you land a good Tornado, you know, you pretty much just reset the fight, and it is going to be an Ember coming out for VP.
So, name a range hero that suddenly says, get back.
Yeah. I mean, this is something that's really important for VP, because if you look at their team right now, they actually don't have to commit to the fight with any of their heroes but the Centaur. And that's obviously when you're going to have things like Stampede to back it up, right? So you have Sleight of Fist spam, you have Zeus, you have Elder Titan to be able to push Cloud9 away. And as we've seen in the past, these types of lineups that run Drow, Venge, Visage usually fall off pretty hard if they're not able to high ground. And Envy even said himself that Drow is not meant to go the ultra late game, whereas an Ember Spirit is going to just completely thrash you in one Sleight of Fist if you let it go too long.
23 seconds left to Cloud9's last pick. This is going to be Fata's hero unless something crazy goes on. We do have to keep in mind that Cloud9, at the very last game of Phase 2, when they lost to Virtus.Pro, they lost with a Drow Visage combo.
Yeah.
They had a Phoenix in that game, and perhaps it's a Phoenix that didn't do well.
Pugna, wow.
Okay, so that's going to give them a little bit of high ground siege. And I really think they picked it for the ward, right? Against Zeus, Skywrath Mage. To a certain extent, the negative mana regen against Centaur and Elder Titan could be pretty potent as well. So, not something you see too often.
Yeah, the Pugna pick is definitely mostly just for the ward, but it also allows you to do some funny things. If you get enough farm on Fata, which I believe he will get, you can even just buy up the Aghanims and heal your teammates now. People sometimes forget about this, but if you commit really hard to killing, say, Drow Ranger, and Pugna starts healing him, it turns very, very difficult.
Although I just want to say that the burst damage will outdo the heal by a wide margin.
And also, you probably don't want to decrepify your teammates at any point, because you're just going to get them killed like super hard.
Yeah.
But I get what Wag is saying. It is very hard to actually just straight up engage against Pugna Ward when you have this type of team. Like Skywrath and Zeus especially are going to be the ones who are going to be suffering from that. Elder Titan and Ember to a lesser extent, and then Centaur I don't really think cares. It gets like, if you use Stampede before you blink, you could potentially get hit by another ward, which stops your blink, which could be annoying, but other than that, I think that most people on both teams understand how Pugna works. So Cloud9 definitely going for more of a push-centric lineup, there's no doubt about that. And from the looks of things, we could be seeing an aggressive lane coming out from them.
So going into the game here, Waga, Andy, any thoughts on who had the better draft, or rather, who would you want to play on if you were one of the competitors?
I would be much more comfortable playing on C9's draft, to be honest. I think it has a very, very strong peak, and I doubt that VP, without perfect execution, they can't really fend off the mid-game push, I believe.
It is definitely going to be tough, yeah.
As well as they can spam. Ember doesn't do anything at that stage. Arc Lightning is not that impressive. The Ancestral Spirit deals some damage, but other than that, Centaur is full commitment or nothing, and Skywrath doesn't do anything against push either, so how are you going to kill the birds when they walk in? Even a thing like that. You have no right clicker apart from Ember, but he does not kill birds quickly.
Yeah, I think, honestly, I agree with the Cloud9 lineup being the snowball-y, very scary to deal with. We're going to get all the outer tier towers by like 20 to 25 minutes and try to choke you out, but going background against VP still seems a little bit difficult to me. Like, you have so much spam. Yeah, and granted, you don't have to fully commit to be able to go in that way, but I still feel like if VP managed to delay the game long enough, there's almost no way they can lose.
Well, this is game one of a best-of-3 series between Virtus.Pro and Cloud9. Winner moves to the winner bracket final and will face Evil Geniuses. So a lot on stake here. A lot of us on the panel have put Cloud9 as a favorite, and it's going to be Envy on the mid lane Drow Ranger, carrying the very ugly Mask of Madness. And ugly is a very subjective word, so I hope I don't offend anybody out there that likes the Mask of Madness. Personally not a big fan. And he's going to be facing up against a Zeus mid. Zeus is not going to do much denying.
I mean, Zeus is taking tons of damage already trying to walk up. I mean, he wants to right click, but he did not get any of the first two CS, so he is going to be happy just doing this.
Skywrath Mage, though, is going to give him a little bit of harass coming in.
That's not the most fun thing, but you also have Vengeful sitting around, so I think E is still fine.
Look at the damage. Envy's just giving Jadam the arrow.
Oh god.
Get away from here.
Range.
He doesn't have a salve either, so he's pretty much going to be out of regen at that point. Honestly, The one thing about playing against Zeus is that most heroes still farm pretty well against it. As you mentioned, you don't get denies really, but you always shove the lane super hard if you're forced to use Arc for CS, which means that the Drow is not really going to be that gankable because he's going to be sitting under his tower for a majority of the game. And then if there's some point where G ever stops spamming, then it's like, oh, well, maybe he just wants me to get ganked because he's not shoving my lane.
Yep.
Yeah, and we also have, the fact that I think Pugna would struggle more against Zeus in the early game because he has such a hard time trading hits. He doesn't have too high damage. I mean, ward is amazing later on, but on level 1, you kind of just kill the ward and start nuking. So I think the Drow Ranger mid works better. And personally, I like a farm Pugna from a tri-lane scenario. We'll see how it works though.
In terms of the top lane, we have Jakiro facing off against Centaur, and this is going to be a very easy lane matchup for Jakiro. Not only is going to out-farm and out-harass Adoy, keep in mind that Liquid Fire being spammed on that T1 top will allow Cloud9 to take that one quite easily. So I think Cloud9's actually got the better lanes in almost every single lane. The bottom lane can be argued upon.
Well, this is kind of what they wanted to do, right? Like this lineup is meant to be able to get some kind of momentum, and they're going to initiate here onto Fata bottom lane. Spirit comes out. BZZ trying to get a range for steering chains. He's going to get slept. This could potentially be the first blood. One more nuke coming out, and there it is. BZZ gets the first blood. Aoi quite low as well. They're not going to be able to get 2 here.
Well played by Virtus.Pro, correctly identifying that Ven just doing something else, and that something else was taking an Invis rune. So if they have actually gone for maybe 10 seconds later, that would have been a totally different fight.
It's just the hallmark of a good team, right?
Yeah.
I think that Pilot does not really need to sit.
BZZ might be dead. Magic Missile is going to be prepped up. Soul Assumption will get the easy kill. I say that. All right, it looked pretty close.
Yeah. I mean, he might have been able to salve there, but it's not a 100% chance that he would have lived. I think if he got like a high auto attack, he would have died either way.
Yeah, I think Pilot Ice rotation or like standing around thinking about going towards mid is a little bit of a mistake. You want to really secure this aggressive tri-lane. Mid is sort of a wash. I mean, Zeus is going to farm, and as long as you put enough pressure as C9 on bottom, you will see whenever VP leave with support. So Envy won't get ganked. It's just a 1-on-1 scenario, and he should be pretty okay in it, even though Zeus deals a bit of damage.
Yeah, I think the only time you leave the lane is to secure the runes. You don't want Zeus to refill that bottle, because Envy in the past, I don't think he's actually gone Magic Stick on Drow Ranger. Normally you do want to get it for the regen, but with Drow Ranger, you kind of just want to keep stacking him on those Wraith Bands, so we'll see. Yeah, he's just fearing himself salves and whatnot, and you need to do that against a Zeus that will constantly spam at you.
I mean, G doesn't really have boots right now, and Envy's got 3 points into Frost Arrow, so if they try to go for a dive here, could be pretty effective. They're waiting actually for the Courier. Here's the Minus Armor, Magic Missile to come out, a couple of Frost Arrows. Should be quite an easy kill. His bottle's coming to him on the Courier. Oh, not enough time. Yeah. But he does at least get 1 kill, yeah.
But Drow Ranger getting a high level 5 there is going to be very important. Once he gets level 6, that's when the bonus damage really get out of hand. Aoi is going to run around with the haste ring. So no harm, no foul.
Also a big win that Zeus got no experience for that kill, even though he did get some gold afterwards. So that's the most important thing. And Drow wants to get level 6 before Zeus gets it, so he can just deny as much as possible, control the lane, and he does get it now with this bounty rune.
Yeah, this is the point where your damage just goes up significantly. Even with level 1 Aura, he goes from 8 to 16 damage on all ranged heroes. So it's going to be quite a bit easier for this Jakiro to continually dominate top lane. It's 11 CS right now for Adoy and the Centaur versus the 27 of Bone 7.
I mean, Bone 7's got more denies, or the same denies as he has CS. So.
Yeah. But again, I mean, VP's biggest weakness as a draft is that they don't really have the greatest of laning phases. Zeus is supposed to be like the one stable hero who's going to get more.
Envy a lot of trouble.
He's so dead.
Yeah, the mask are going to come through. And I got to say, this mid lane ward, something that you don't see too much, especially on your own side of the hill, that saw the Venge rotating in. So G knew the gank was coming, was able to actually counter gank instead. Very well played by Virtus.Pro.
It's almost even more just to always have the vision as well for Arc Lightning or Lightning Bolts when you're playing Zeus. So you can see your enemy on the high ground, and we're going to see C9 dropping their own little high ground ward as well there.
Although this one could be easily countered. If Zeus ever bolts there, he'll know that there is a ward.
Yeah.
So not the same effect.
Not too impressed by lane wards in there. It's that already revealed.
Will be seen. Top lane, the two supports really close to each other, and Pilai Dai, he's right next to a Centaur. He does have a ward kind of in vicinity. He needs to just run north right now. Centaur does not have Stampede. Here comes the concussive shot.
So screwed.
Pilai Dai trying to juke in the trees, but the mask is on him. And the Ancient Seal damage increase. Pretty real stuff.
Yeah, Centaur and Skywrath definitely too much for our poor little Venge to handle this early on. C9 are playing laning stage really weird. I figured they would just pressure bottom quite a lot and stay there, maxing out the aura on Drow Ranger, but they're trying to be more flexible in their laning. I'm not sure it's going to work out in their favor. At least Jakiro is winning his lane, I suppose.
Yeah, it's interesting because VP are playing not a similar draft per se, but a similar style. And okay,
dead.
Envy just instantly dead. All right.
I mean, Envy stayed around in lightning bolt range, seeing that G was out of mana, but G was just like double bottle, no problem.
Yeah.
Also, all of these lightning bolts are really bleeding into Envy's pockets. Like he's bought, I think, 2 salves and maybe rebought another set of Tango.
Well, that's perfectly fine, but dying definitely isn't. And he had no clue that the Elder Titan was there to gank him. He also had no clue when the Skywrath came to gank. This is why I keep saying, like, pressuring the enemy tri-lane to always know where the supports are. That's some intel that your mid laner is going to thank you for. So
yeah, definitely that's the case. And BZZ should not have 23 CS against 3 range heroes on the bottom lane. Like, that just should not happen. So I feel like Virtus.Pro is playing really well on the early game, and that's something that both of you guys said, right? Cloud9, their strength is the early game, or at least one of their strengths, and they're not really capitalizing on it.
Yeah, they haven't really applied much pressure to any tower, not even bottom lane, where they started off with a Pugna tri-lane. Typically, like Wago was saying, you should pretty much just be there, pressuring it 24/7, and then you can move around and try to get mid and maybe secure yourself somewhat of an early Roshan if Aoi is able to hit 6. And they're prioritizing him now, as they're going to move in middle lane, as we saw Sidoi take some harass. Wow, he's even going to pop Stampede. Yeah. Probably not necessary.
And not to misunderstand, like, obviously controlling runes is super important, but this is a very, very roam-intensive game that I did not expect to see from either team in this game. Maybe if VP put an aggressive tri-lane of their own, we could have seen something like this.
Okay, I think Pylai is dead, actually.
Pylai is dead.
He's dead.
He can commit the Wrath, and he will do so right now.
Oh, they're going to kill Fata, too.
In a very awkward position, and the Ancient Seal's going to come in for a little bit of extra damage. Gia is already on a dominating streak. We're 8 minutes in. He's got 1,400 gold. Once he gets the Blink Dagger, you're in really big trouble. Speaking of which, Envy's going to get stunned on the top lane. Ice Path, would it be enough? It will not be, because Envy's going to get blown up.
All the ganks. Jesus, VP are just finding kills non-stop here. 4 kills in a row, going the way of C9, really picking up pace.
You mean VP?
Yeah, VP. Of course, VP.
Yeah. I mean, G is completely balling out of control right now.
So what do you do as a Zeus in this situation? Do you just go Blink? Do you go for Force Staff maybe? I know a lot of people like Yules. There's a lot of choices. Which one do you think is the right one?
I like the Yules rush, to be honest. I don't think you necessarily need the Blink first. And Yule Scepter gives you the movement speed will solve your positioning problems. And look at his mana. It's always been low. Like the entire game, he goes for 1 kill and then he's down to like 20 mana. Yule Scepter is a very nice item to have. And you can also abuse the mana boots with the Yule Scepter.
I'm a bigger fan of the Yules as well, but seeing the fact that G hasn't built any components of it, I think we are going to see a Blink, and Blink will allow him to really combine well with his Centaur, the Skywrath, the Ember Spirit. Just the fact that you blink straight into Drow's face just gives her so much trouble, so we'll see if that's what G goes for.
Yeah, VP are going to smoke here. Speaking of Sidoi, we talked about the Blink Centaur. He's actually only 700 gold away. I mean, we talked about how he wasn't really doing great top, and sure, the Jakiro has more than double his CS, but Sidoi's been getting some kills. And now they're looking for more. They're going to find Envy. Stampede's popped here. Easy kill.
Well, they are aware of the stack as well now, so future ganks into that position isn't too terrible. Finally, Aoi's going to get level 6, at level 7 actually.
That was a good read against any lineup with Vengeful as well, because anytime your team has Vengeful, you will be stacking Ancients, trying to get that farm for your carry. So VP knowing completely what's up.
Bottom lane, BZZ aggressively diving in. That's going to force a TP from Fata. And I don't think they'll get anything done here. In fact, here comes Yo. If he gets a clap off, this could be a kill. Here comes the Ice Path. The chains got thrown off though, and that's going to be a 2-man stun. Bone 7's going to go down. The Rainbow TP comes in, but there's just no really follow-up from Cloud9. Cloud9 is bleeding way too many kills.
I mean, they don't even have boots on Envy right now, so bleeding kills is a mild way to put it. They're really falling back here.
Sidoi finds the Invis rune. If he walks up, he's going to break the smoke, and he will do so right now. Oh, Invis.
That Sentry,
I mean, he's going to just be able to walk away. There's no swap available, and these birds are actually hurting himself. So chasing a return.
Not even going on to 50% HP, Sidoi is just like, okay, I'll back off. You have a Sentry, fine.
So normally, Cloud9 have a significantly better laning phase. They maybe kill the tier 1 bottom and look towards mid at some stage. Since they haven't done that, I really feel as though the Ember is just going to become unkillable, because if your physical damage output isn't high enough at this stage to be able to deal with him, it's only going to get worse, right? Like the Ember's going to start, he's going to finish his
mid lane,
drops.
easy initiation.
Okay,
the mask comes down, the Mystic Flare as well.
And that's Blink for Sidoi, by the way.
That was the same Invis that he just kept and walked in mid, so a little bit sloppy by C9 not thinking about the fact that he still has one and they knew about it. Are we getting picked off there on mid? And the top 3 net worths going VP's way, and that's by quite a lot as well, as Zeus is topping almost up to 5k.
Again, it has to be said that this particular lineup by Cloud9 needs to play ahead, and Pugna is one of those heroes that if you fall really behind, he's actually just useless.
Yeah, especially against the Zeus lineup, right? You have Zeus and Ember, you're just going to explode, because you basically can't decrepify yourself against VP's lineup unless you want to just die immediately. So I think in a way, like VP have already done way better than expected in the early game, and their late game on paper should still be better than Cloud9. So I'm really kind of concerned for what Cloud9 actually plans to do at this particular stage.
I mean, C9 are trying to get their composure back, get some timing items. They need the Eul Scepter on Jakiro, they know this. And of course, Drow Ranger cannot contribute that much this early on either. So they just need to find that timing. They're weaker in the super late game, and they lost the laning stage. So it's about finding that timing window.
Well, I think they're going to time it into a Roche smoke, but I'm not sure it will work out as intended, because keep in mind that Blink is available. You can Zeus ult to scout. Jeez has not done it just yet. They're pinging the Roshan pit, but Jadam, he's going to get seen. The smoke will break here, and there's a Eul Scepter gank to initiate, and Jadam's going to be dead. The question is, are they actually going to fight into it? They will. BCZ comes in here. The Cloud will hit too. There's a drain. The Blink Stomp. The Zuso. Everybody on Cloud9 takes so much damage. Fata will get melted on the left side. BCZ still alive thanks to all of the quick burst damage. Blink forward here. Bone 7's going to be dead. Aoi throws out a nuke, but I think he is also going to get taken down. That's a 5-man team wipe. 13 minutes into the game, and you know what? Virtus.Pro may not push well, but if all the heroes are dead, they will push your towers.
Exactly. No one is at home. Take the tower. Easy. So they only lost the Skywrath and the Ember, which is definitely a fine trade. Snowballing even harder on the Centaur and on the Zeus. That's the big part as well. It's going to be very scary for C9.
So just as something to note there in that fight, BZZ actually, like, I think he used 2 remnants to go in.
Yes.
So he was extremely confident in the ability to take that team fight. And even though he ended up sacrificing his own life, it took them quite a bit just to be able to kill the Ember. And the Ember is not a hero who is known for his physical durability. Like, Sidoi going in bottom, he's going to get Eul's here. Earth Splitter comes out, hits on both Bone 7 and Fata. The double edge gets canceled by the Ice Path. Fata's still alive, finally gets taken down by the Elder Spirit, actually, and they're going to be losing Bone 7 as well. Can they take down BZZ? Looks like the Bird Stuns and a Soul Assumption will do the trick. So, in the end, Cloud9 getting BZZ a second time here, but they do end up giving up 2 for it.
I think that even though that was a 2-for-1 trade, Cloud9 will take that trade. Like, they were just really starved for gold right now. And the Team 5 recap shows that they actually earned more gold, despite losing more hero for Cloud9. And, you know, of course, Envy was part of that kill. All you could really ask for at this point is some quick burst of gold. And what do you think Envy's item of choice here? Does it have to be BKB early?
I think if you go BKB against this team, you're just not going to farm fast enough, and you're not going to do enough damage. Like, it sounds like a really good choice because you kind of want to live, and he's 0-5 at this point. But if you buy BKB, where is your presence? Like, what is your end game here? Like, he's not even level 11, so he doesn't have level 2 marksmanship. He doesn't have finished treads. He doesn't have anything except for 2 Wraith Bends and an Aquila.
I think he just needs to get the treads, Yasha, and then into BKB. Because I agree he needs the BKB. It's a very strong timing item. But first he needs to add up some sort of damage as well. But definitely BKB first will also be a decent choice, I suppose. Because they can't keep losing like this. They will simply not scale well into late game at all. They need to find a way to win fights.
So here's a suggestion. You play very disciplined and you play around your towers. Because you know Virtus.Pro can't push. They can't just 5-man siege a tower. That's not what their lineup is designed to do. Can they just secure farm that way?
I mean, some, but you're giving up the entire map control. Even a hero like Elder Titan is going to be happy to farm every lane, go into jungle and farm as well. So
I mean, they still have most of their outer towers. Mid lane here, Yo going to take a ton of damage, won't die. I don't think they're going to give away like the entirety of their own jungle as well. So
I think he could have killed him if Envy just clicked his aura right there. because the aura is not global for the birds unless you click it.
Yeah,
So
I
you need
see.
to time it to the Visage play. Definitely would have killed him there as he has 111 HP and the birds did so many right clicks.
Looking for a smoke, and keep in mind that G does have a blink dagger, but if he gets Yules, the blink will get cancelled. Smoke breaks, G, it was a nighttime, so in fact Cloud9 has no idea where G was.
Yeah, now he does have Eagles on top of that, so going on him is actually very difficult now, because the best way to have an initiation for Cloud9 is Yules into Ice Path, right? But you can actually Yules yourself out of the Ice Path if that happens.
Yep.
Yeah,
So-
and then blink out. So you're going to be pretty fine. And for Zeus, it's pretty much always like this. Yules or Blink Dagger, well, you're always going to want both. It's more a matter of which item you get first. And it was such a low timing window where he didn't have both anyway, so it didn't really matter. And Blink worked out well for him.
Oh, another smoke here from VP. Sadoy and Jadam going up towards the secret shop, looking for killing somebody. And honestly, if they catch anyone, they're dead. I mean, this is a lot of damage, even without considering the Zeus ulti coming in from G.
Well, we did see Bone 7 kind of disjoin the combo a little bit earlier with the Ice Path, so maybe if they go on the Visage and Bone 7 is there to break things up. But looks like the smoke has already ended and Virtus.Pro is scouted out immediately.
Everyone on Cloud9 just pinged up that hill, by the way. Pretty sure every single member of the team did.
Yeah, they were pretty aware that something was about to happen as well. They're sitting very tight as 5 around mid, trying to protect with Vengeful to swap back if someone dies as well.
Yep. And it looks like we see a little bit of dewarding in the Roshan's bit.
Cloud9 have they've stunted the bleeding right now, right? So they have only lost one offlane tier 1, which is definitely good in their situation. It would be 10 times worse if they didn't have any tier 1s left and suddenly contesting Roshan becomes a lot harder for them. So the mid-game timing that their team normally looks for is like 25, 30 minutes in. That's when you feel really strong. They might still have the potential to take some team fights, but if they give away too many towers, I think that's actually going to be a bigger deal breaker than losing a fight.
I'm worried that Sadoy might just not die this game as well, because he's so tanky now, building into Vanguard. If he gets the Crimson Guard up, you mainly rely on your right-clicking coming out from C9. Sure, you have some spell damage, but nothing the like of VP.
Double teleport to the bottom lane and BZZ. Well, it's going to be a Yules, but a Lightning Bolt is going to cancel the TP. I actually don't think he would have made it out regardless of that Lightning Bolt. So easy kill against Fata, stunting his item progression. Top lane, looks like we're going to see a little bit of TP in. I mean, if Zeus gets here, that would be an easy kill, but looks like it's going to be a support TP.
This is good from C9 though. Try and split the enemy up, go on several different lanes. It's the most scary thing ever to do against the Centaur, but you have to do it, because if you don't, you will have zero map presence.
It's actually going to be a two-man smoke again for Cloud9. I think they're thinking about that Roshan sneak.
They can definitely do it with this damage. Like, now that Envy is level 11, if he gets a little bit of lifesteal or something like that, he might not even go for it. He might just go SNY, which is the typical build that we see on Drows nowadays. But it is very easy for Cloud9 to take Roshan if they ever get the opportunity. And you could be right. They're just walking right over there.
Yeah. It's definitely a timing that you don't expect. But they need to keep the lanes shoved out. And I'm not sure if they could do it quickly enough, because very easy for Sadoy just kind of poke his head in. In fact, they're pinging it out. They know it's coming.
This
If you
is not
lose
gonna work.
Roshan fight here, it's actually terrible. They know. He blinks in, but where's the magic missile? It's a little bit late. Envy's trying to get, he swapped back into the Roshan pit, into the certain doom. And here comes the Ember Spirit to take him down. TP out from Pie like that. He makes it home, but guess what? Roshan's down to half HP. Looks like they want to go for more pick. They'll blink forward. Yule Scepter set things up. Bird drop, bird drop.
Nice micro there, but still, the enemy have so many items. Yule Scepter coming out again there from the Elder Titan. He does just go down there.
I think if A just goes on BZZ or G right now, it's almost uncomebackable.
That was such a good
Uncomebackable.
call.
Is that a word? It's not a
No,
word.
definitely not a word.
Okay.
You just say they can't come back.
They can. Thank you,
Yes.
Andy. Yeah.
You're welcome. So, really nice call by VP, honestly. Like, just knowing that Pylai Dai and Envy were both off the map. You know, it's like one of those things where you look at it from an observer perspective and you're like, oh yeah, it's kind of obvious. But when you're in the game, like, being able to make that call at that point is very impressive.
Yeah, it was a good read. It was a good read for sure. But also a little bit, you know, want to see more active use on the Drow aura when you're going in for a sneak on Roche, try and pressure out the other lanes just by buffing up your range creeps. It does actually work quite well and forces the enemy to react with a lot of heroes. Of course, C9 in probably the biggest struggle ever here though.
Yeah, I mean, normally Visage Birds are like the go-to to split push with this type of lineup, and they become extremely annoying, like you were mentioning. But even the Ember, if he continues to get more items, eventually he'll just one-shot the birds, and then your life becomes pretty crap as a Visage, especially if you have like multiple Battle Furies and Daedalus or something like that. But
yeah, and he has to kind of start to do that as well. I mean, he's going to have a Daedalus pretty quickly after this timing, because Battle Fury and Drums at 21 is not a bad speed for Safely and Ember.
Well, they see Sidoi coming up top thanks to Observer being placed behind him. Don't think they could do anything about it. G is hasted and G is coming in, but G is going to get swapped. The Yules is actually going to miss out. Ice Path will hit. They got to get a quick kill though. Here comes Sidoi. Sidoi gets a 2-man stun. Envy's going to get blown up. The Dragon dies. So will the Drow Ranger. Sidoi trying to run away. He's going to have Blink in 5 seconds.
Yeah,
and he'll make it home.
Getting that beyond godlike streak though. A lot of gold going the way of Fata. BZZ still wanting to go aggressive here, but Aoi is going to run away a little bit. Sends new birds. Can he stun him?
Oh, actually, with the Medallion Courage, they'll bring him down. Meanwhile, Centaur reinitiates on Fata. Fata does have 15 Magic Wand, and he will pop it right here and there. That will leave the war. Actually, there's one stun, second stun. The life drain's going to come through. Sidoi very, very tanky. And it looks like he got cancelled. Blink for war here. Fata's going to eat a Mystic Flare. These trades are not favoring Cloud9.
Birds are so angry.
Okay. Those birds have gone, what, 2 kills now?
Yeah, they definitely hurt. You know, Envy still didn't use Azora. Interesting.
I think he just forgets. I mean, this is not a tactical decision. He's just not using the combination.
Well, I mean, everything considered, I think that VP still come out ahead there, just in terms of sheer kills. And even though it was a godlike being given to Fata, he does end up dying, although I will say that he has BKB now, which I think is a core item on Pugna for this game. Like, you cannot stand in a team fight without magic immunity.
Envy's about to get solo kill. Jump forward by BZZ, chain, easy. There's a gust back, but there's no way Envy makes it out of this one, especially with G coming into Lightning Bolt.
Yeah, and Stampede just being used to make people run even faster at Envy there. This is the power of Centaur as well coming into play. So
I actually like to see G use his ultimate more as a scouting tool. When you're winning this game so hard with Zeus, the only way that Cloud9 is going to come back is through smoke ganks.
I think it's fine not to do it, because you're ahead so much that you have good intel already on what the enemy is doing. Like, they pressure every lane all the time, and if people don't react, they know someone is smoking, then he would probably click it.
Nope. There's a Yule Scepter here to refresh a little bit of cooldown on G. The clap's going to hit. Lightning God's Wrath just to secure the kill.
Yeah. I mean, G is a beast on this hero, but they also have such a genius draft for a Zeus to play in. When you have Skywrath and Elder Titan, all your lightning bolts are so strong. We saw both of those different heroes ganking mid, and Envy got to get a taste of that lightning bolt.
I mean, I guess we've kind of beaten it to death, but Cloud9's game was essentially the early mid game. And it's 23 minutes in. Seems like the game's actually been going on for quite a bit longer than that, because Cloud9 have just been getting brutalized basically for the entire game. So if you have this game plan that you're so comfortable with, and VP just so soundly like dismantle what you're trying to do you feel confident going into the next game to try to pick it? I know I might be saying prematurely that Cloud9 won't be able to come back, but given their lineup, it's...
Assuming that VP takes this game in the fashion that they are right now and C9 can't make a comeback, you still have to realize it's just an individual game. You messed up something was off. It doesn't matter if it was the rotations or the draft or whatever, just focus, like refocus. And I think that's an important strength of any pro player.
Is it though? I mean, the game that they've lost in Phase 2 is also a Drow Visage game. So that's 2 games in a row against Virtus.Pro that this strategy has not worked out.
Well, from my perspective, I just think they could have executed this strat a lot differently. So not necessarily the draft being weak, I would say, but maybe it doesn't fit them and their style in general. It seems C9 are not very comfortable with it.
I think, like you were mentioning in the early game, their movement just maybe not warranted. Like, they were trying to pressure multiple lanes with the Vengeful Spirit and the Visage, and they ended up falling behind, giving away a lot of kills because VP were just on top of the fact that they saw rotations and such. But
yeah, but the main strength I want to see people use when they draft the Drow Ranger is just the static laning phase, because you have so much more damage on all your heroes that a 3 versus 3 lane is fine for you. 1 versus 1 mid is fine as long as no one is ganking the Drow Ranger. He's not going to die to a solo Zeus. But in the end, didn't really play out that well, and aggressive movement from EE, gonna get bursted down so quickly.
I'm not sure what that aggressive movement's about because the rest of the team's taking a tier 1 tower. And
I think it's desperation, like trying to find anything, like a miracle right now, because that's what
he
C9
was
needs.
face scouting with the Drow without any BKB. His Venge was dropping a defensive ward. Like even if they saw enemy.
Hey man, I don't know. Maybe he was looking for a courier and a TP out. Like you need a miracle at this point, right? Even just getting one gank off is not gonna win you the game. So maybe if you killed Crystallis or whatever on the courier, delay something, that could give you some magic timing.
I actually think this game is a perfect example of why people have been banning Zeus against VP Classic. Because of course G plays a phenomenal Zeus. I'm not taking anything away from him, but just the utility that it gives your team when you're ahead, the enemy has no vision, ever. They can never split push freely, and I think that's the inherent counter to what Cloud9 are trying to do. Because if you go to a lane as Drow, and you're against the Blink Centaur and an Ember Spirit, and you can't see anything.
Dear God, the farm on Envy. I just looked over to your net worth board, and oh my God.
It's not good. Like, he's actually almost worth less than the Skywrath on VP, who is their 5 position. So yeah, needless to say, game is not going well. But again, I think, honestly, if you're Cloud9 and you want to run something like this against VP, you have to ban Zeus.
Yeah, and also Zeus and Centaur is maybe too much of the goodness for VP. Like, they get so much global, you can't give all this away, because whenever they want to gank anyone, you're going to rush at them really fast. You will have extra damage coming out from Zeus, and Centaur ulti is also amazing for Zeus himself, as mobility is key on a hero like this.
Yeah.
I mean, going back to the draft, as soon as we saw Zeus Centaur, or I think Centaur was the 3rd pick for Virtus.Pro, I said it's almost suicidal to pick Drow into this. And they picked into it. I wasn't feeling the best.
I don't think the Centaur was the key to shutting down the game of Drow.
It's not, but the Zeus follow-up, that was so blatantly obvious.
I think they could have, well, maybe, but I think they could have still just executed way differently and locking down the enemy supports. But it's easy to say that in hindsight. They obviously wanted to control
Envy's
runes.
dead. No, he doesn't go for it. The lightning bolt actually ground targeted and missed.
Yeah, they obviously wanted to control runes against Zeus, which is extremely important. But you know, not having Venge on the lane down there bottom was hurting him.
Bone 7 doing a little bit of split pushing top. Immediately blinks away and TP back home. They are still doing a very good job in shoving the lane out. G thinking about going for a solo kill. Blinks in close. There's a Yule Scepter, but Fata close by. He's going to give him a decrep.
He's so fast, though.
Yeah.
Like, he's got Yules and bots.
He's got 1800 health. I don't even think Envy could right-click for 1800 in, like, you know.
I think in a right-click war, the Zeus, if he was standing in range to get rid of marksmanship, he would actually probably win. Oh, God.
He could maybe.
All right,
and even the fact that he can maybe win that war just spells sadness. Daedalus is completed on Ember, and he's looking really, really strong. Still working on the BQB is the Drow Ranger.
Are you guys surprised by the fact that G has not gone Bloodstone? Or sorry, Aghanims? I think Bloodstone's very good, but if he ever gets Aghanims Refresher, this game is actually over, right?
I think Refresher is better than Aghanims. Like, you get Aghanims, I think, when you want to tank up a bit. And if he gets Bloodstone for the tankiness, the extra stats from Aghanims, I feel, aren't really that warranted, and Refresher is just more damage.
Yeah.
And having a double Eul's double Blink is really good.
So you're saying Refresher now that you have the Bloodstone?
I would say Refresher even if you didn't have the
Before to
Bloodstone.
have the, yeah, I agree to that as well.
You might need like a point booster or something. Oh, wow, that Eul's...
Oh, the mini blink.
He actually self-Eul's when he blinked in Bone 7, please. Oh, no.
That would actually have been a kill, because
Well,
they had
actually, G
everyone
walks
there.
back into Ice Path here. Here comes the Gus here. They're trying to throw everything on G. I mean, G at the very least has a Suicide Stone, so he will use it right then and there. Meanwhile, top lane, they're pushing straight in. You could deal with their Zeus, but where's your base at?
Well, they had to go for a kill in Super Mario. Now, base defense time against VP. Not the strongest pushing heroes, but so many items on them.
I mean, BZZ is terrifying, right? Like,
All right, here comes the Ice
items.
Path, but he's out of there.
Yeah. Instant casts, as we mentioned previously. You
More
can.
instant than instant.
Yeah, well, it's just Ice Path not landing instant. Elder Titan gets a kill on Envy.
I guess when you can't farm your side of the map, you farm the opponent's, and Yul was just onto that. He's like, yep, I know. I find it interesting, actually, that they decided to buy a gem even with the Zeus. Maybe, I mean, the Zeus is not always going to be dewarding all the time.
I think it's just I have too much money, what do I do problem. So it's a perfectly good item, and making sure that the enemy will never have an invasion.
Vata is going to get chained up here. Looks like the stun will not hit. Where's the defensive swap? It's not available just yet. Here comes the swap. And it looks like they'll run
it's
into
going
safety
for him.
until Sadoi BKB's in and comes back. BKB on Vata is going to run into the Earth Splitter. That's one kill. Here comes BZZ. They want more. You got to keep him that Zeus not even in the fight yet. This is going to be a top Rax.
His ulti's up in 5 seconds. He might actually still be able to kill. Oh, never mind. Twilight Idol have too much HP.
Yeah.
Oh, buyback. They want to fight this. BKB is down, and here comes Fata. The offensive Yule's Ice Path will actually clip onto 2. It's a Yule City up in here, but I think the Lightning Bolts will come out. My God, Fata lost so much health. Gito, he's getting low. He dies the second time. Envy will survive this engagement.
Yeah.
It didn't look too good, but, you know, base is currently defended. Zeus buys back. Where's the Thundercal's Wrath? It's already used.
Yeah. Also, BZZ just hitting so hard there, killing the Visage in one single slide.
Envy has 6 TP scrolls. I think he panic bot somewhere down the line. I don't think he will be able to use all 6 TP if VP has their way with this game.
Yeah, probably not.
I mean, VP's biggest weakness is showing right now, right? Like, their base push is actually abysmal. Like, they kill the rack so slow that Cloud9 are actually able to completely heal up and get into position again to try to defend here. And there's going to be a Yule's coming out to Doi, following it up with a stun. Bone 7 just melts to the damage.
That's one of their tankier heroes, too.
Yeah. As you said, the biggest weakness was weak push, but when you have such a strong and dominating laning performance, and then also the better draft into the late game, you don't really worry about being weak at pushing because you stomp the entire map.
Yeah, they have a 25 kill lead, and up until this point, it's over 20,000 gold and experience in VP's favor. Now, granted, we've seen a lead that big almost thrown away, but they hadn't raxed their opponents when they had it, so definitely a little bit different when you've already taken one set.
Also, I think Cloud9's team fight is extremely weak. Coming back in a 25,000 deficit is okay when you have things like RP and Echo Slam and Ravages, but they don't have anything like that, and Cloud9 smoked under enemy ward. This is kind of their last-ditch desperation play. They need something big, but they just can't find anything because VP knows.
Yeah, they played the ward and realized, like, okay, jigs up, we did smoke under a ward, we're going to take it easy. And, you know, BKB is completed on Ember Spirit. He knows he doesn't need bigger numbers on his crits right now. He's already killing people. So just gotta make sure he doesn't get silenced and blown up.
Oh, the fight's gonna break out on the bottom side. As soon as Cloud9 is spotted, I imagine the VP hero will just come. In fact, here they are.
Rush.
The birds will actually break things up here. Here comes the Stampede. AUI loses about half his health. The bird drop's gonna come through, but Sodoi gets an easy kill. Zeus ultimate bringing everybody really low. And they're forced to TP home or just run away. Pylite racing to the secret shop. Mid lane though, Virtus.Pro says, all right, we have creeps in base almost on the top lane. Let's just go in. G in fact just blinks in and try to go for something.
Yeah, they're all just fishing for more kills right now, and Envy has to run away, sitting in his own fountain.
Well, I don't really know how many more ways we can say that Cloud9 are not doing great. I think we've done our best.
Yeah, I mean, it's not looking great, Dad. It hasn't been said, now it's said.
I'm just trying to think of things that maybe they could have done differently, but nice defensive swap coming out here. Sadoi keeps somebody alive for the time being, gets his BKB off. Bone 7 already dropping here. Envy gonna get killed by the Sleight of Fist. The 900 damage crit. The scaling of VP seemingly too strong. Nice Yule's dodge there on the Magic Missile. Sadoi comes in with a stomp. Jotum actually picking up that kill. Sadoi now decrepified, getting life drained, but will be able to live. Netherward doing a tiny bit of damage. They use Stampede to retreat. And that'll be the end of the engagement for now. Ice Path comes out though. Bone 7, he wants to get the dive back. Well, I'm sure he actually didn't want it, but that's what he's going to get. He does manage to take out Sadoi in the process, and Aui's going to be dropping here to G.
BKB TP. GG's going to get called at the bookcase, trying to get the last hit. Not going to get it. Cloud9 will drop game 1. And we've been talking about how Virtus.Pro, you know, they're the weaker team here, but Cloud9 did not execute what they needed to execute. And Virtus.Pro takes a rather surprising win to a lot of us on the panel.
I mean, it's, again, I really like the draft of VP. I felt like Cloud9, they definitely had the potential to get really far ahead because that's